What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Critique, episode number 9, actually, of Critique by Finsweet. I'm here, joined as always by my co-host Joe Krug, and today we've got a couple guest judges. Leo has been here before from Refocus Agency, so we'll let you say hi to him again. And then we've got a new guest judge today. His name is Brandon, and we reviewed his site a few weeks back, and so this is the second time we've had a previously reviewed Critique website in as a critique judge, and so we're excited to have him. So we'll give you the first hello. Brandon, go ahead and tell the audience a little bit, and while you do that, I'll bring up the site so they can remember that from their previous review.
Yeah, so I'm Brandon. I'm half of Bones Co. My wife and I run a small creative studio together and just work with all kinds of companies, whether it's local here in Omaha or various startups. But yeah, doing anything from logo, branding, interior, websites. So
Nice.
just try to have fun with every project.
Yeah, we appreciate you being here, and I'm excited to hear your thoughts on the various different critique websites. So welcome as your first judge. Next, we've got Leo from the Refocus Agency, also one of our Clone Comp sponsors. So big shout out to Leo for stepping up as a gold sponsor for Clone Comp. This event is going to be super amazing thanks to support of people like him. And so Leo, say hi to the crowd.
Hi everyone, I'm Leo from Refocus. We are a web agency building mostly on Webflow. Yeah, super nice to be here again.
Awesome. Great to have you. Looking forward to your feedback on the various critique sites. For those who may just be joining us for the first time or need a refresher for how everything works, let's take a quick overview and take a look at that.
Check it out. Okay, so here's how it works. Each week, the Webflow community will submit websites for us to critique. Members of the Finsweet team, along with guest judges, will get 5 minutes to review each selected site live on air. The judges, along with members of the audience, will then have 45 seconds to submit their scores before we reveal the overall rating for each website and share our final thoughts. Welcome to Critique by Finsweet.
Okay. And Joe, I didn't mean to do this, but maybe you want to say hi to the crowd too, you know?
I do.
Give you a
I
second
always
to
want to
say hi to the crowd. I know. I figure we talk to them all the time, and so like sometimes I take it for granted, you know. I don't ever introduce myself or you, but yeah, let's go ahead and say hi to the crowd too.
Yeah. Hey, crowd. I'm excited for this week. It's great to have Leo back, and actually, just this past week or two of critique, I'm now starting to see things come in full circle. People on the show are coming back. We have people that we're reviewing, reaching out later to either us or community efforts. And we're starting to see a cycle of people coming through critique and being found again. So that's really cool. I'm really, really excited about this show. So let's get into it.
Yeah, and we'll say hi real quick to the crowd. We've got Ariel, Magdalena, Jacob, Victor. What is up, everyone? Jacob saying Webflow Community Alliance is going to be amazing. 100% agree. Looking forward to that. Yep. Jay Poucher's in the house. What's up, Rohan? Let's see who else is here. Babas, Rock and Roll CEO, Wyatt, Federico, Eunice, Monster Geddon. Oh yeah, we're going to look at that site here in just a second. I'm actually excited to look through that one. Vlad, Carr, Deshaun, what is up, everybody in the house? So we're going to get right into it today. And Brandon, you're going right in the hot seat from the get-go. You've got the first website, which is this Rim Frost Skills. So let's do this, and we'll go ahead and get 5 minutes on the clock. You got the first 2 minutes. Go for it.
Great. Yeah. So just right at the top of the page, little weird that the logo is just sitting in a white box, but it works. The double nav, I did notice when you click the hamburger menu, it actually has like some of the double information. So that was like a little strange to me, but always a sucker for flyout menus. Outside of that, I love throughout the rest of the page, like kind of the timeline and breaking out the left and right of the information. Really clear and concise, super clean, like the cutout photos. But the biggest thing of this site that I loved would be as you get into the other sections, the hero images kind of blend in to the site, and thought that was a super nice touch. If you look at any of the other hero images on the secondary pages.
Okay, so like let's take a look at maybe this one here, this from Frost Creole. Oh, like this here.
Well, the sustain, like if you go to the first one, I think that's maybe a good example. Yeah, the sustainable harvest.
Okay.
Like it all just kind of blends in nicely with the rest of the site. Thought that was a nice touch.
Yeah, it's the biggest thing that seems to be bothering me is the lack of consistency in that same effect. I do like that effect, but it's like sometimes we use it, sometimes we don't. Sometimes we use it, you know, like, and same thing on the home page here. Let's see if we go back to the home. It's like no cutout, hard square image, boom, beautifully blended. And I don't, maybe you can't do that with all of them, but that feels like a little bit of inconsistency to me. The other thing is, for some reason, usually when I see these little buttons, I kind of expect something to open right in the page. I don't expect when I click on that for it to take me to a new page. That's like an unexpected behavior for me. I don't know that it's like a deal breaker or a real like big problem, but it's just not something I expect. I kind of expect a little addendum to the page to pop up right there, or some kind of contextual information. So I get what you're saying about this menu, right? It's like we've got all these items up here, and then some of those items are back in here. That could be a little confusing for users. It's so close. There's a lot of good stuff here. Leo, what are you seeing? How can we take this to the next refinement? What's kind of something they could do to pull this all together here?
Yeah, I agree about the images and the inconsistency, but one thing that I think it's annoying me a lot is when we are using like timelines for something that is not a timeline. So we have in here in the middle in the homepage for like kind of like it's like a timeline step by step, but there's nothing that is happening actually in time or even correlated. It's more actually just for connecting the sections somehow. Yeah. And I think that's part of also what is like bringing this inconsistency, because you are kind of like in the same section with a video, with an image, with a blend background, with a like just a bottle with no background, then a stock image, then on the other side again we are going to like no background photography. So I think it's choosing the right photography and making the flow, and if there are sections, they should be sections on the side. And I would also suggest that even if it's a timeline, like aligning the text to the right, it looks weird.
Yeah. Joe, what are your thoughts here? And I will point out that these little hovers work more like how I expected on the homepage. But what are you thinking as you see this, Joe?
I think this is a very visual site. There are a lot of visuals that I like, and yeah, a lot of visuals look kind of stock, like that hero image right there. I'm not convinced that that's for the company, created for the company. But a lot of images on the site, I do. I really think this is a good visual site overall. My big problem is sometimes the text has a bit too much width. Not always, but there are select places throughout the site and it's not equal. It's not the same max width. And I'll call out one in particular. If you go to the home page of the site and you click on the powder, in the hero, sorry.
Oh.
In the hero. Yeah, right here on this powder, on the plus. So inside that, look how large this width is for this text. And without a background on that image, it just looks it doesn't look well structured. And if we go further down in this page, we're going to see it again, even more extreme. This text is way too large. It's not giving me a proper structure. And that white background on that powder isn't helping. So that's something I'd really look at, formalizing this max width here across all of your paragraphs.
Yeah, and this was something, Vincent talked about last week. We talked about last week a little bit too, is having some max width on your text sections, just because the readability is a little easier, and capping kind of the distance there. So, okay, that's 5 minutes on the clock. You know what comes next. We're going to put 45 seconds on the board. Rohan, go ahead and open up that scorecard for the public there. We'll give that 1 second to take place. Let's see, anybody making some comments in the crowd? Let's see. Thoughts exactly on the plus buttons? Yeah, rock and roll CEO. Yep. Very nice hero. Great pictures. Cold, lack of feeling. That's true. It kind of has. It doesn't have a lot of that emotion that you sometimes expect from some of these sites. But that's, hey, neither here nor there. Leave it in your score. 45 seconds on the board. Let's see what you got. We're looking for, again, a design score. So this is the overall design of the website. The story is going to be the content, the message of the story itself. What is it telling you? How does it feel? The flair is going to be interactions, that emotional connection we were just talking about. Does the site draw you in? Is it something you want to explore or not? And then usability is real simple. It's just how easy is it to navigate the site, to get around on the web page, etc. So another few seconds, 15 seconds to get those scores in, and we will check the ratings. Any final thoughts from the judges here?
Would be interested to see what it looks like on mobile.
Yep, we could do like a.
Someone also put a comment that could use some animations, and I totally agree. I think I was expecting that there's some. I mean, with so many images, it's missing some animation to it.
Yeah, I could use just a little bit of that, just a little bit more of that flair. So let's see how the scores came in. As always, we start at the lowest score and work our way up from there. And so this time we have Brandon, first time score of 5.75 on the, what is this, Rim Frost Krill. That's a tongue twister of a name. I tied Brandon at a 5.75, so we're right on the same. Oh, whoa. I missed Leo. Leo came in with a 5.0, so Leo should have been the first score. My bad. So Leo drops a 5. Leo drops a quick hammer. Then Brandon and I come in at 5 3/4, and Joe with a 6.25, which gives us a combined judges average of 5.69 for this website, which is just a bit lower than the crowd. The crowd was more in line with Joe at a 6.30 for a combined total score of 5.81 for the Frost Krill. Not a bad opening score. I would like to see this as a redemption round. I think if this thing had some unity across those images and a little bit of that like pop, just a little bit of that, this could be a 7 or higher site really easily. Okay, so this next one is Ichi Uchi, I believe. And is this who's this? Is this Joe or is this one Leo? Who's walking us through this one?
That's me.
This is Leo.
Great. All right, Leo, 1 second. Let's get 5 minutes on the clock and pull these things. All right.
Cool.
Whenever you're ready.
So, yeah. I think it has a couple of really interesting things. Like, for example, I really like this gradient on the top. I wouldn't have made it with hover. I mean, there's no action, no nothing like for making that on hover. If you want to do it like animated, that would be cool. Like, I know, like a gradient that is changing the gradients like by time and not like by hover. But then the hero, it feels like I'm seeing like more like a Notion paper, like, and it's missing like the power of a hero. I mean, I'm coming inside a website. I want to be wow. I want like show me like the best you have, and then I can actually get engaged and keep scrolling. And not like, I think like, for example, I know the bullets, like they're just like lines. They're not even like real list elements. So like it needs much more love here. I like the photography. I think it's cool, like as a personal side to show yourself there. I I'm not sure why isn't on black and white when there's so much actually like gradients and colors everywhere. It could pop way more. And then the case studies, I think that they're quite nice. I mean, this hover effect we've seen a couple of times when you hover on the images that is coming up. It's nice. It's elegant. Maybe I would actually keep the logos on the bottom left corner without the zoom, so they're actually floating static, and then you only zoom the image. So that will give it a little more depth. And I think the logo wall in the bottom also could use a little more like symmetry. It feels like there are different grays, there are different sizes, there are different spacing, alignment. That should be more cohesive.
Yeah. No, those are all great thoughts. Yeah. Joe, what are you thinking as you see anything Leo missed there?
Really, really like how simple this site is. The first thing, most important comment for this site is I don't like the difference of opacity across these gradient accents. I think the gradient accents are great. They're really letting you focus on something when everything else is black and white. However, when I go through the build, I see different levels of opacity applied to different pieces of this gradient text. It's all over. If you scroll down a little bit here, if you scroll down, yep, right here. So the some fun facts is different than the title text. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I'm Uchi. So that's something I think is going to make this site a lot more unified. That we do have a little bit of a contrast problem with this lower opacity gradient. So I would recommend just putting that opacity to 1 for everything.
Yeah, here's a little something.
Or pick 2.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Pick 2 of them. You know, don't.
Yeah. And I like the idea of seeing them like, unless I'm clicking, I don't think there needs to be that hover. I kind of would like to just see them be bright and flashy like the whole time. That little punch of color. And these right here, I didn't know they were links, even though it says my Spotify playlist. When I hovered, I see it's a link. But, you know, maybe some indicator, because it looks very similar to the other text. So at a glance, if I was scrolling real quick, I wouldn't, like, there's nothing there to slow me down to say, hey, click this button to check out my link. And to Leo, to your point here, I see this colorful image, which is the same image that's on the homepage. And I really do like the color more from this image than when I go to this homepage here and I see the image in gray. And it looks like maybe he superimposed himself on this background, I think, somehow. This is like there's some weird blurring here that I'm not sure if that's like I'm not sure what that is. But what were you going to say there, Leo?
Yeah, that's true. I like this movement. I will explore it a little bit more in the one that is in color. It has kind of like this Harry Potter newspaper style movement. That's kind of cool, but I think it needs to be a little more explored there.
Yeah. Hey, Brandon, what are your thoughts here? We'll give you a little bit of time extension here since we ran out, but what are you thinking as you see this?
Yeah, I'll keep it real quick. Yeah, I think there, you know, to what Joe and Leo and everyone else said, kind of around the inconsistency of the opacity and just some ADA, you know, accessibility issues. But if you click into his case studies, I do like how he kind of color coordinated it to what he's talking about. So that was a nice touch. In the other one, it's yellow, and I think the UI is yellow. So minor touch on that. Very, very in depth in his description of his process and how he got there. So I think that's great. So from a content side of things, I think it's wonderful. But yeah, just some ADA and some inconsistency in the styling. But overall, great work.
That's that's a good point. I like that catch, the depth there. And I like this, watch me talk about it in 3 minutes. It's like a little personalized video for each case study, which I think is actually a nice little touch. So kudos for that, Uchi. I like that. Okay, so it actually lets you download a resume. All right, cool. Well, that's 5 minutes on the clock. Rohan, let's go ahead and open up the scoring for the judges, and we'll go ahead and put 45 seconds on the clock. So cast your votes. Now's the time. I'll check in with the crowd and see what's happening here. Let's see. He should use his photo on hero and probably get rid of those gradients. Okay, that's the thought. Eunice for sure. Website submitted on their live stream are going to be reviewed now or in the next episode. If you submitted your episode now, we will not get to it this episode. Okay, so Yuchi's in the audience here. Thanks, guys. So much value from this and a lot of improvements to be made. So awesome. Glad to have you in the crowd here. We're, yeah, feel free to resubmit too as a redemption round. This would be a great little redemption round candidate. Okay, all right. So that's all the time we got. As always, we start at the low score, and let me make sure I get the proper low score this time. This time it is Brandon. Okay, Brandon comes in with a heavy 5 1/4. I come in right at a 6.0 on this website, and then Joe and Leo are tied at a 6.25, but it's not letting me change it. Okay, 6.25 for both Leo and Joe, which gives us a combined judges average of 5.94, which is, wow, considerably lower than the crowd score here. Crowd score comes in at 7.21, which is okay. A big combined score of 6.19. All right, that seems like we got that about right. Yeah. So Uchi, this is a good little start here. Lots of good potential, and this would be great to see as a redemption round here. Would love to see that as a resubmission with some of those feedback accepted. So okay. So we're gonna close this site here. And let's get the next one up on the board. So this is gonna be Monstergeddon 42. This is some serious, like, Brandon, you nailed it. This is like that Doom, Duke Nukem, like just super, it's something. So I'm looking forward to go through this one. I'll give myself 5 minutes on the clock. And let's do it. I'm going to refresh this just in case we missed any real exciting interactions here on load. Okay, a little grainy break in. Okay, Monstergeddon. This looks like a video game, some kind of video game. First thought is this is for a specific audience. Anytime I see something like this is like a real specific audience. This is not appealing to everyone. This is like, there's a culture around this type of site, this type of experience. And so this is speaking to the, look at this, welcoming Finsweet. Look at that. They updated the site
nice
right now to say hi. That's great. Okay. So as I scroll down, it's very eye-catching. There's so much happening here. I think it's actually a little tough to read, but again, I think that goes to the type of site here. Like, I think it's supposed to be like that. So I don't really know how to critique or judge this. The navigation does seem like it's, I don't know. I'm not usually a fan of navigation on the bottom. And this going from square to round, something about the way that transitions, I'm not really excited about it. Okay, even that, like, that's interesting. So there's like an angle to this subscribe form, but then it squares up when I hover or something. That behavior's a little unexpected to me, and I don't know if that maybe is hurting conversion rates. I don't know. That'd be interesting to test a different design on that. Maybe a little static. And I don't mind that it's angled. I just think it should stay angled. I'm not sure it should move positioning there. So if you're going to commit to having it angled, like, let's let it be angled. It's okay. So let's see if I click on blog, does it take me anywhere else? Okay, so these things are just opening into new pages here. So I don't know. I'm gonna let Brandon, I want you to jump in here. What do you think as you scroll through this thing?
Yeah, I mean, before the show, and I was talking about it, like getting my start in GeoCities back in the day, this like hits the feels. My mind would have been blown if I saw something like this, and so I know it was like purposely done that way. So I mean, kudos for taking something as powerful as Webflow and figuring out a way to like create something like this. So kudos on that. But yeah,
machine upgrade fund,
usability. Unsure, but yeah.
What else? I mean, the design aesthetic is obviously very specific. Leo, what do you think here as you're going through this thing?
I really like it. I mean, it's quite like brings a lot of memories. Let's say I like the copy, and like for example, there you have like I know coming soon. Like no one ever heard about this game. Award-winning text go here. It's like kind of like having fun already of it, and I think it could be a little bit better if it would be like a little more attention to details, because I mean this style has a lot of power, but at the same time, for example, I mean using a serif font on the email address input, it doesn't go with this, or for example like the effects, I think they are breaking some stuff as well. They break the effects on the hardcore. I would spend that the hardcore is going like crazy, and
I didn't realize I had that subscribe covered up when I was showing that earlier, so the audience can't see. I'll redo that little hover to angled action there for people to see. Yeah. So Joe, we'll give you the last minute there. What are you thinking?
I have a problem with usability, that on my machine, it is very difficult to scroll down this page and see everything clearly. That there's a lot of jumping, there's a lot of scrolling issues, and it almost feels like there is a 2-second delay for everything I do, including scrolling the page. So hovering over these icons, these buttons, everything feels really slow and delayed on my machine right now. I thought it was really interesting that there's the effects and hardcore setting, and when I turn those off, it is much easier to use. There's no issues, there's no problems. So my comment here would be just be aware of the performance of this site, that it may be taking away just one effect is going to make the entire experience much better. So I would look into that.
Yeah, I did just turn them off, and it's scrolling considerably more smoothly here with that off. So okay, that is 5 minutes. We got everybody, right? Everybody got a chance to give their piece on that one. Okay, so let's take a real quick peek at what the audience is saying. I'm really interested to see what the crowd is saying on this one. Looks like something out of Clone Comp last year, Penny is saying. Jay Spotzer saying straight 1993, yes. It's a HUD perspective straight out of the video game. Okay, great. Nick Jones, you're meant to navigate this on a stand-up arcade machine. It's dope as okay. Scan lines, okay. Straight out of Worms, 1995. Nostalgic design. Monster Getting is saying hit the hardcore and effects button to turn them off and speed it up. Okay, so that's just the advice we're getting there, which, yep. And then Rock and Roll CEO is looking like the first ever website made using Webflow in 95. If Webflow had been around, it feels like I'm viewing in Netscape. It takes some skill to do that, right? Like this is, I mean, this is, okay, I'll be real interested to see the scores on this. So let's get it up there. 45 seconds on the clock. You got the live scoring is happening right now. Judges, go ahead and share your ideas here. Again, we're looking at design, aesthetic. This is going to be the crippler. I don't really know how to I have no idea how to judge this one. So story is going to be the content.
It makes me feel old.
What is it?
It makes me feel old.
Yeah. Just thinking about how long ago 93 was or 95 was.
I like 95. Ooh.
See. Okay. All right. 8 seconds. Got 5, 4, 3, 2. Not great on mobile, Penny is saying. But getting lots of crowd love. I like that. It's such a different thing than we've seen on the show. So as always, we start from the bottom going up, and this time we will start with Joe at a 4.25. Okay, let's see. Up from there, go to me. I gave it a 5.75. I actually gave it a pretty high Flare score because I want to explore this site. It may not be the most beautiful site, but something about this thing sucks me in, and I'm going to spend some time on the site. I bet the time on page on this site, if it loads, is actually pretty high. And then Leo and Brandon got 6.25 there, giving us a combined judges average of 5.63. And the crowd was above all that. The crowd was a 6.57. That gives us a combined score of a 5.81 for the Monstergeddon website there. So great effort. Yeah, I like that. It's just such a different change of speed. So keep them coming, everyone. The link to submit is in the description of this video. Maybe Rohan can share that in the description so people can send their websites in. Okay, so let's take a look. Who's on this one? Is this one's me or
That's me?
We are going to total opposite now.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. All right, Joe, you got 5 minutes on the clock, and whenever you're ready.
Great. So right away, I am loving the typography here. It just feels custom. It feels different, and it works for this type of product and brand. So right away, color scheme, typography, I'm giving big thumbs up. We have beautiful images of food, which always gets people excited. That's a really nice placement. This is really good imagery here. And okay, that's a nice intro loader. Great. Yeah, I think this site is really well done. I think the typography and the size of it, the color of it, the way that it's laid out is very clear for me. That I'm seeing these as titles and paragraphs. There's not too much confusion as to where I want to go. I love it. Yeah, I'm trying to find something that I don't like about it and pick out, but I don't.
How do we feel about that?
I see they are.
Go ahead.
They are using Finsweet cookie consent for Webflow, and it looks awesome. Super custom cookie preferences, absolutely great. So
where did you see that?
I give
in the footer.
Let's see. Yes.
I'm not sure how I feel about that loader on every page. Webflow's so fast that sometimes I think that like you actually slow people down by adding that interaction in between. And if I'm really exploring this site, if I'm really jumping from product to product and trying to like figure out like what I want to buy, I don't know. I just feel like that could turn me off. And also something's happening here. I'm not really sure how to navigate this little side scroll thing. I thought at first that when I scrolled, it like started moving, but then it doesn't. And I'm not real sure how to swipe this. I can't pinch and grab. I can't move on my trackpad. I don't know if that's supposed to be like that or not, but I kind of want to, and see there, it starts like turning. Is it just like on some timer? If so, I don't know. Something about that feels not as usable as it could be, especially if those are your products. It might also be interesting to highlight when I hover to just give me a little indicator that this is going to take me to the product page, or show me the price, or show me the title, or just give me a little bit more information here contextually when I hover over that element so that I know where that click is going to take me. Set some expectations with your user. But I agree with Joe. This text looks great. It's very wide open. There's not a lot of clutter on the page. So the focus is these beautiful images of the products. I love that. Okay, view. You're doing it here. This is great. But view what? Right? Is this the product? Is this just an image? You know, if I click this, is it going to like open it bigger, or is it going to take me to a page? So I don't know. Leo, what are your thoughts here?
I really like the design and typographies of the site. I'm going to just get a little picky in the products and recipes sections, which first, both of them are looking the same. And I think there's so much more potential to work with recipes on a different slider. And I also don't love this slider. I mean, it has a really nice design, but I don't like when the sliders are cutting on the side, because you have the container and you didn't make it full width and figure out how to actually let it flow. So I think that's also sometimes like using Webflow sliders, sometimes that's a limitation. But I think it could use a little more like animations, entry animations and going away animations, maybe also using something else for the recipes that is not the same slider. Maybe, I know, playing with like some preview of the recipes and video. It looks also that they like to show themselves, and the chef has a lot of really high quality pictures. So there's no reason for maybe like, you know, making a short video about some recipes and having the recipes section a little more personal, and not just another slider with different products.
Yeah. Brandon, what are you thinking here?
Yeah, you know, I think to go off of what Leo was saying, I mean, design-wise, everything is great, but the products and recipes being in sliders, I think it's preventing the user to get a breadth of the products or what they're offering, and having to kind of continually dive in and not know like how many are left or what you maybe already saw already. If you're trying to sell something, I mean, really, I think focusing on having that whole breadth of products on the product page at the least would be a helpful take on it. But otherwise, yeah, design, type, layout, everything else is great.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think a grid for some of the, especially the products, a grid would work better. But this was something kind of like what I was expecting to see on the homepage. I could imagine a slider like this on the homepage that then leads me to a product or something like that. There's also some readability issues on some of these on some of these images. So just a few little thoughts there. But 45 seconds from the crowd. Let's see. We'll go ahead and put the countdown up. So go ahead, judges. That's 5 minutes. Cast your votes. I'll take a quick peek and see what the crowd is saying here. Hello, Mahar. What's up? Let's see. Loving the branding with some UI UX refinements. This is a top site. I agree. Why did they alter the font for the logo? Not sure. It does look like it's almost like rolling over some kind of cylinder, right? This one comments about lack of distinction between products and recipes. Yeah, Colleen, that seems to be like a pretty good distinction there. Something that would be well served. This is going to get high design scores, I think, in my mind. This is a really well designed site, and it's got some good story, right? The content and whatnot, as you look through, it seems like like they care about the product. They're definitely invested in this thing. Oh, is that our time? Okay. Let's go. Hang on. Let me cast this usability score and we'll go. Okay. So let's take a look. Wow. Wow. Okay. Judges were in alignment on this one. We've got a 3-way tie at 7.0 on this thing. So both myself, Leo, and Brandon all came in at a 7.0. Joe came in just a bit above that, half a point higher at 7.5, giving us a combined judges average of 7.13, which is, again, the crowd is being quite generous today, was a point, almost a full point above us at 8.8. Okay, gives a combined total score of 7.32. Interesting. Okay, I think that's a good score. 7.32 is a good score on this thing. Like, we don't get into the 7s and 8s very often on the site anymore. I know when we were cherry picking the sites, we did quite a bit get into that, but now that we're just taking all the general submissions. So, all right, next site, the Casual Convo Podcast. Let's do this thing. Let's see. There we go. Okay. All right, who's on this one? This is Brandon again. Okay, Brandon.
Yep.
5 minutes on the clock.
So
and you're up.
Love the simplicity of it, the color palette. Big fan of black and yellow. Always works well. Concept of the podcast seems pretty cool, just like a casual conversation with people. But as you scroll down the site, I noticed that there's lorem ipsum. And so not sure if this is an actual live site or kind of a work in progress that they just wanted to get some critique on. But outside of that, and there's some more lorem ipsum right there above the sign up.
Yep.
But yeah, as you go down, like the description and like the concept of the podcast and being able to get like kind of some of featured podcasts with the breadth of the rest of the episodes. Love the hover effects. So it's getting there. Just with the lorem ipsum, it obviously just feels not finished yet. So
yeah, this is definitely an early submission here. This looks like all of the content is lorem ipsum. We've got a favicon missing, the webflow.io URL, and yes, just placeholder text everywhere. I think that's probably the right observation, Brandon, is that this is just a in progress website that was submitted for review. So that's also weird that's
but I think he's off to a great start in that regard.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's some good bones here. This is like the beginning of something. I don't know how to get back to the homepage though. I kind of wanted to click up here to get back to the homepage in the top left, and I don't find that. I mean, I guess I got menu here and that takes me back to home, but there's something about that trained behavior of wanting to go to that top left corner to get back to the homepage. That's, expected user behavior on the web that we might want to stick with. But I agree. I think this is very simple, understated. It would be easy to navigate if these were podcast episodes that were live and that I was interested in listening to. I could see very easily navigating the site and getting to the content I want to see. So, Joe, what are your thoughts?
I also agree with everything here. The simplicity, this is a great start. I'm going to encourage you to add another color to this site. Add another visual element other than the yellow. And here's why. You are using this yellow as a primary call to action, as subheader text, as title text. It has all these different uses. Sometimes it is a link, sometimes it's not a link. I like to stick to keeping one primary color, the call to action color. That most of the time this is being used for call to action. And right now the yellow is just everywhere. It looks good, but it's not making it as clear as I want it to be. Like the footer, I think that those yellows are links. I would expect to click on those because the menu is yellow and all these other things are yellow. So think about that. Number 2, we have horizontal scroll. I see a whole bunch of 100 viewport width sizings inside Inspector. I changed a few, it was still there, so that means it's all over. So please do not use 100 viewport width because it will very likely create horizontal scroll.
Yeah, good observation there. Who's left? Brandon? No, I'm sorry, Leo, right?
No, Leo. I think it's a good start, as you say. I'm not loving that much how the typographies are being set. I think that's something that you had to set up right from the beginning. Mostly the hierarchy. I mean, for example, like the text on the cards are like super huge, and it doesn't need to be that big. And also it's really weird, like in terms of a structure of content, like that you have number 2, number 3, and then number 5. I mean, give me something like to explain me why there's no number 4. And I mean, they're really, really good taking pictures, but I will not abuse of just the same picture in different angles from the same photo shooting, let's say. Maybe something with a guest, maybe something like, change your t-shirt and in the same photo shooting and make it like look like a different day at least.
Yeah,
I think that would be my.
Yeah, even if you're doing virtual podcast, you could like get a guest to sit across from you and stage something out. It looks like you got a nice setup here, a nice little environment for the streams. Part of me wants to see a little bit something in this background. I don't know if that's a little texture, if that's some little embellishment, I don't know, some other little break. Because once you get out of this top section, it's just all thick black, or this charcoaly, look. It might be interesting to see just some little break. This could be a great space for like on scroll, a background color change. So maybe you don't need a texture, but just like doing some kind of transition or something like that as you get into another section, just to give me a little bit of, what was that? And that's going to keep me pulling down the site. Right, so like little things like that just kind of catch me by surprise as I scroll. Otherwise, I'm like, okay, it's just kind of like it's safe. I know that there's nothing unexpected here. Maybe I don't go venturing to spend more time exploring the site. So anyway, that's 5 minutes, and let's get 45 seconds on the clock. while we do that, I'll go ahead and cast some quick scores. Design, again, story. Flare, okay, and then usability. Okay, let's see what the crowd is saying on this. Horizontal scroll as soon as I join. Kai, it's all your fault. You know, you jump on the stream and we start finding horizontal scroll. Let's see. Rock and Steel. Site has presence, just not ready, but it'll be killing it. Finish it. Yeah, I agree. This is just a little early to
Yeah.
Go ahead, Joe.
I think that's a really cool thing. I think it's really cool that somebody built a base of their site, came to critique, now they're going to implement what we're saying. So that's a great thing. I would encourage more people to do that. If you're not sure how to go to the next step in your site development, we just gave a whole bunch of great advice here. I'd love to see this back on the show when it's done.
Yeah, that's a pro move. I mean, it is. Like, usually we get fully finished submissions, and I don't really want to start seeing like half-baked. So I think this is at the perfect stage where it's like there's enough of a concept here, there's enough of a layout to get some real direction. So if you're out there and you're looking for feedback, just make sure you don't send in, you know, something that's too early, because we probably won't pull it up. But something like this, perfect stage to just say, hey, maybe you're stuck a little bit. Maybe you're not sure what kind of flair you could add or what kind of elements you might be able to put into this thing to take to the next step. It'd be great, yeah, for this to be a venue and format for that kind of feedback. So, yeah, great move on the cheat code there. Okay, let's close this. And the last site is this Lancify.net. And who's walking us through this one?
That's
Leo.
on me.
Okay, I got 5 minutes on the clock whenever you're ready.
So I think overall it looks really nice. I love the typography. I love the images. I would love to explore a little more in that hero image and the little squares behind. Maybe some animations, maybe some lotis that are changing the pictures. Maybe the little squares in the bottom could be actually videos of people and not just static images. That would give like a super cool punch to the whole intro of the site. And now is when I don't like it. And now is when the typographies are getting weird. There are inconsistencies. If you scroll a little down to the cards, like here, if you hover over these ones, they're like kind of like making like a little of a mess. The images, some inside having rounded corners, some are not. Like for example, the third one, it's shorter than every other image. It feels like the client changed it, kind of like these things, and no one actually thought about making it deep and making the height of that image so it's not doing anything they want. And I also don't like the typographies inside there. Then here it's looking quite nice. I don't get in the bottom. I don't get why they are like empty boxes, to be honest. It's kind of like they try to fill the white space, but I don't think it's a good resource there. And yeah, I think something to work on is the interactions, the hover interactions with the scale. There's a point with scale interactions that are either looking good or they're looking extremely bad. And this is somewhere in the middle. It's just like, it needs to be more subtle. It needs to have more easing. It needs to have less power on it.
Yeah. Great. Let's get to Brandon. What are you thinking here?
Yeah, I think from a type, a layout, color palette, you know, the black background with the pops of color, super great from a design side. And the one thing is I wasn't clear what they were until I got to the very bottom where it showcased that they have courses. Outside of that, the copy isn't really clear to me on what it is. And maybe that's just me, but if I'm landing on it, quickly skimming, I'm not even clear on what they do. So
yeah,
I think catching that up at the very top would be important. But yeah, everything else Leo had kind of already mentioned with like the empty boxes and some of the interactions.
It does look like in some places they're putting multiple icons in here. And so I'm wondering if that's like, you know, community management gives them some room to grow other community management apps, but I don't know. I don't know if that works. I also noticed there's rounded edges versus squared edges versus different, you know, it's like, goes back to the image spacing that Leo was talking about on this card here, where you're not setting fixed sizes for stuff, or, you know, like just cutting off the overlap, or just taking the extra time to shape these so that they're all the same. Also, with this sliding side to side, it does reach a point where I've got big gaps in my space, and now I can't see what was over here, which to me, like, if there's something that I'm supposed to be seeing there, it should loop, right? So if I lose it on one side, it should be coming in on the other. There's another way to do this type of thing here. I think maybe your interaction's just not as advanced as it could be to have this kind of looping through on itself. And one final point was, I think you're achieving this effect here by like reducing the padding, which is why you get some of that jerky changes. I think refinement on some of these interactions would really help this site. So Joe, final thoughts here.
Yeah, on the logo scrolling horizontally, the horizontal scroll bars are showing. They are. So on a lot of devices, these will be visible. It does not look good with the scroll bars. Go ahead, put some custom CSS in there to make those transparent. There are a lot of things that I love about this site. I really love this typography. I love how big these titles are. It's very clear what the titles are. I really agree with Leo with there's too many types of typography, too many styles, too many sizes, too many color variations. And I think if they just pick a few, 2, 3 different ones for this whole homepage, it's going to be a lot better. I also love these colors just below the header. We have these background colors of these people on the home page. We have the boxes just below. These colors are awesome. I think it's really a great contrast against this black. The problem I have with it is in the logo, it seems that you're more of a gradient style company. And then that concept is again seen just before the footer where we see gradients. So these two styles kind of conflict with me, that we have this gradient style, that's one style, and then this really beautiful, solid, bright color style. And these two don't go together for me. So I would choose one or the other, not try to put both of them together here. Yeah. But I do really like the site. There's just these little pieces that's taking it from really good to excellent.
Yeah. Yeah, and I want to reemphasize a little bit what Brandon said about the copy. It took me a while of scrolling to figure out that this was a place for courses for freelancers and resources and community for freelancers. I'd like to see that a little more clear. And when I get into the courses here, like when I actually clicked on a course, there's so much good information here. I don't know.
Nice.
It wasn't as clear to me. Like when I got here, I was like, oh, this is good, right? Tell your uncle, get paid well, learn the latest tools. No. Or feel productive? No. Learn the latest tools. And so it's like there's more character, and I like the way that these courses pages are laid out more than I like the homepage. I think bringing some of the clarity from these like course level pages into that homepage could also do some favors to this website. So anyway, 5 minutes on the clock. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
One more comment here. Now, after seeing this page, I'm seeing more of that gradient style. Just this shot here looks just like the logo. It looks like this color stylization is right on point with that. And when you compare that to those new colors on the homepage, they really conflict. So yeah, please look at that. My thought now is on the homepage, change those colors to your gradient colors as seen here.
Yeah. Okay, Eric Lessman, on my computer, that carousel section has scroll bars both vertically and horizontally. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do that during the show. I'm gonna have to turn on my scroll bars. I on a Mac have my scroll bar is typically hidden, and so we're probably like the people don't get to see all the scroll bars, but maybe I should turn those on so that people can start to see those when we talk about that. Strix is saying, how long does it take after I submit a site to get a review? That can depend on how many submissions we have and you know what the flow is of those. So right now it's like an episode or two, you know, so maybe a week and maybe 2 and maybe 3, depending again on the volume. So all right, let's get 45 seconds on the clock to score this Lancify.net website. So share your thoughts here. We're going to look at the design, which is a pretty nice design here, right? Could use some refinements. Story, again, we're looking at the content. We're looking at the message. We're looking at, you know, what are they trying to tell you here? Flair. All right, let's see. All right, and then usability. We'll give it, okay. All right, 7 seconds left for the crowd to cast your votes. Let's see if anybody else is saying anything. Kai Jolly, it's also shifted over to the left. Need to fix that carousel section. Yeah, Pablo Cortez, this feels like a modified template. There are some elements that work really well and some elements that feel out of place. That's an interesting point. That could be, you know, it could be that somebody's working with a template, trying to recreate some things and not maybe being able to match the refinement of the template. That could be. Okay, so as always, we start at the bottom and work our way up. Today we've got Leo at a 5.75 on Lancify.net, and then it's a 3-way tie at 6.0 between myself, Joe, and Brandon. So there you go. That gives us a combined judges average of just under 6, so 5.94. The crowd came in at a 6.85, which gives us a total combined score of 6.12 for the Lancify.net website. So pretty respectable score still. Could be brought back for a redemption round. This could be refined just a little bit to take it to that next level. This could easily be an 8 or higher website with some of those refinements made. So let's do this. Okay, let's go here, here, and here. All right, so rundown, thoughts. Brandon, this was your first chance at critiquing here. Share your thoughts. What'd you think? How was the experience?
It was great. Yeah, like I said to you on Twitter, I felt like I was, you know, meeting my heroes after watching you guys twice a week for, you know, the last few months. So no, I appreciate you guys inviting me, and yeah, it was great to get my site critiqued through you guys, and you know, a lot of things that I didn't even think about through building it. So that's super helpful. So yeah, definitely everyone submit your sites. It's such a great resource, and Finsweet's doing such great things for this community. So appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you. Glad to have you here.
Thanks.
Leo, what say you?
Yeah, absolutely. Also the same, like super happy to be here and all the stuff you guys are doing for the community and how much you're pushing that forward. And I think this time was also a lot of sites that could be really good for redemption, and with some details, it could be like 2-3 points over and be amazing sites.
Yeah, I agree. And it's fun to see the variety of sites we're getting. You know, we're not just getting, you know, like all the same style. Like there's such a broad variety, from that Monstergeddon to, you know, like the little pastry / you know, dessert, the candies or whatever that she was selling. And so like this is a broad variety. Again, if you're out there and you're interested in getting a site review, send it in. I saw what's this guy Strix saying, for my site I've just started using Webflow, and just some basic tips would be great to get my site looking a lot better. Very basic and not finished yet, but love the Finsweet stuff and the feedback. Yeah, once you think it's in a place where it's you know, like starting to look like an actual website, again, don't send us your 2 hours worth of work, right? Don't send us a site that you just started playing with and you're like, oh, I want this, because it's probably not going to make the show. But yeah, if you're interested in some feedback, feel free to send it in. And worst thing that can happen is, you know, we bring it up and give you a low score or whatever it is. But maybe you learn, right? Maybe you find something that helps you get to that next level. So Joe, what do you think as we go through this?
Yeah, I want to bring up a comment from Monstergeddon, thanking us for the feedback. and saying that they turned off hardcore by default.
Mm.
Great. So I love being able to give these reviews and then having people take actionable steps to make the improvements. So that's great. I feel really, really good about that. So thank you, Monstergeddon, for submitting. And thanks to Leo, thanks to Brandon for coming on. This was a great episode. And thank you all for being here and submitting these great sites to us. This was really nice.
Yeah, awesome. Okay. Let's see. Isn't it amazing how Joe and Reimar can give unique constructive criticism every week? Kai. Yeah, I think it's it's a different site all the time, so it's easy when you have the different sites coming in. If we had to like review the same site over and over and over, that might be different. But yeah, we have a lot of fun doing this. Any other final thoughts? Any last words? Are we doing a co-work today or no, Joe? We have time for some co-work?
We can jump into a co-work. 10,
all right.
15 minutes available.
Let's do that.
I would say one last thing too.
Yeah, go
I
for
think it was great with getting our site critiqued and then immediately going in there and being like, oh yeah, that does make sense. You know, when you are so focused on working on something, you don't think about the big picture or, you know, really have any other people to critique it. So I just think what you guys are doing is super helpful, and yeah, just it's awesome. So I appreciate it.
Great. All right. Well, that's awesome to hear. I just pasted the link to the co-work space. It's finsweet.com/co-work. And yeah, jump in there. We'll close out the stream here and see you in gather.town.